Welcome everyone in this new live development video about building an auto battle game. In this video we're going to make it so our units have the team color of the player spawning them. But first I have to talk about something. I tried to do that. I tried to set up the team color, and I was actually recording, and I realized that I wasn't prepared for doing this. So I had to revert everything I did in the video I was currently recording. So I tried to revert everything based on the video. I coded for like 10 minutes before realizing I had to think about how we were gonna code this, code the team color being given to the units. And so I created an archive of the project, and I'm going to link it in the video description. So if your project is different from mine, just make sure to download the project I link in the description. It shouldn't be different, but we never know. I might have missed some code I modified in the video I deleted, so just in case you have some trouble, and in case you want to just download it to check it out, I'm going to share it. So another thing to mention is that I'm going on vacation on holiday for the next week, so I'm going to see my family. So there's not gonna be tutorial for the next week. So let's dive right into the video. So first thing I noticed is that we have, so if you cleaned up your project hierarchy, your world outliner like I did, you should have several folders with the proper units and actors in these folders, and you shouldn't have anything outside of these folders. So we have the square duplication bug once more, because we're using child actors. So we actually have to pick all of these squares and delete them. And by doing this, if we hit play, the game should behave the way the regular way. So everything looks fine on that side. I don't quite remember what hotkey we used to switch from. Okay, it was plus, I guess. So that thing was working. We now need to give units their team color. So first thing we want to do is to make it so everyone tells their grid who is actually owning the grid. So let's open up these. Let's open up grid, and let's open up fight zone. So fight zone as a nested player, and I think we actually want the grid to have that. So we're gonna add a variable called local player name, like this. This is gonna be a string, and we're going to replace every mention of hosted player by the local player name. Set local player name like this, and we're going to search in other blueprints. Local player name in-game state. Yeah, we want to set local player name in here like this. Where else are we using that? Okay, we were clearing this. Control drag. So our grids are going to know who is the player owning them, and we're putting this in the grid because we're going to need this in the grid in the other grid child classes, such as the bench and the shop. So our fight zone. So we got rid of the hosted player, I suppose now. Like this, we're just gonna make sure we're going to head over our blueprint folder and bring up all the blueprint class. Control Q to select everything, Control A I meant. Right click on that, and then go back to the fight zone and go search once more for this variable, and it's not being showcased, so we can delete that. Hit compile, hit play. So we still don't have our colors, we knew that. So we want to add we want to get rid of our search, and we want to open up squares. Set hosted units, we want to create a new event dispatcher, dispatch on new units hosted, like this, and we want to pass the unit as parameter. In units, we want to call this if we actually have an hosted unit, like this. We want to hit compile, it's gonna throw an error here, we don't care, like this. Hit compile once more, it's fine. So we now have this. So grids are going to have a reference to the game state. So, and they're going to, when they build their grid, they're going to record to the event dispatcher we just created, bind to new units hosted, create event, spawn unit. Now we want a new function called onUnitRegistered, like this, and it's going to take a unit as parameter. In units, and we're going to choose that event, compile all nodes, refresh all nodes I meant. onUnitRegistered, what do we want to do here? We want to set its team color, and we actually want to grab the team color. So in here you have, so we might have different stuff. You might have colors there, and I don't have colors. That's because I modified that. In here, the color we are passing in the set team color function of the unit, the color we are passing, you have something like get game state ref. We're gonna get rid of that. You're just gonna grab the function and delete that, and hit compile. And if you have errors, just get rid of everything related to the game state ref. You don't want any variable, any reference to that here. So let's get rid of this. Let's grab the so did I delete the wrong thing? I just Control Z just to see. No, that's what we want to delete. That's it. And in here we want to create a new variable which is gonna be called, we don't even need that actually. We're gonna grab the value and create an entry pin like this, and we're gonna say new color in here, hit compile, and it might throw errors. We're gonna look for all the places we are calling set team color. So we don't want to event begin play. We're just gonna say they are gonna be white by default. Actually no, we're not gonna call this in the construction script either. So they don't have any team color. We're gonna look for other places we are calling this. So when a player switch color, it has nothing to do with our units, and we were starting to call this. So grid are gonna have a reference to the game state. So get game states ref, like this. It's gonna return an in-game state. It's gonna be pure, and this is, we're gonna promote that to a variable, game state ref. We're gonna check if it's valid, and if it's not, we're going to find it. So is this valid? If it's not, we're gonna grab the game state, the base Unreal node to get the game state. We're going to cast that into our type, and we're gonna store this. If we don't find it, we're just gonna store return null, and we're gonna return this. So what do we want to do here? We want to set the color to the color of the player owning that grid. So in order to do this, we're gonna have some kind of logic in our game state, and I'm wondering if that's going to be, I think it's going to be located in the in-game state. We have players here, and I think we want to store our information in kind of a different way, or maybe not. I'm not sure. In any case, we're gonna have a function here called getPlayerTeamColor, and this is gonna be located in utilities, I guess, and it's gonna return a linear color, and it's gonna take into parameter a player name, and it's gonna be a pure function. And what do we want to do? We want to grab our player variable map, we want to break, and we want to return the team color here. If I'm not mistaken, we are actually storing our players there. Yep, team color, but we're not actually storing the team color properly here. Neither are we storing the team ID, but I suppose that we are actually binding ourselves to the fact that the player changes values. No, we are not. But we actually have that information, the team color and the ID. We have that information, but it might not be loaded already when we store that. So we might be binding ourselves to the fact that the team and the team color changed. We'll see if we need to do this. So in any case, the grid is gonna ask for the game state ref, and it's gonna try to find the get player team color, the player team color, and it's gonna tell the units that it has to take that color. So I guess when we hit play, they're going to be black still, because we didn't set the hosted player of that bench. But I think since we set it for, okay, we have the bug once more, the square replication bug once more. So that's kind of ugly, and we will fix that later. So yeah, so if the server puts the units there and start the next fight, it's gonna be pink. And a unit is gonna, and what color is going to be? I guess it's going to be pink as well. Yeah, that means, and it doesn't work here. So I guess that's because we don't have that information yet when we create in our in-game state. When we create that, we don't have the information yet. We'll just see if it works. I think maybe the game state already on player joined. Did we build that logic in the out game state? No, we did not. That's fortunate, because I didn't want to remove some kind of logic in the out game state. So I guess that's because we don't want to store our information like this. So for the sake of that video not being too long, we'll just override some of the logic we are using when dealing with players, and we actually want to store we want to have players new. We'll just call that for now. I know it's kind of ugly and I don't want that, but it's not really important for now. So we're going to store that player state new. We're gonna add, and we're gonna grab this because we don't want to store a duplicate of all of the player state information. We just want to grab the information right away. And if I was afraid and I wanted to store that information somewhere else than in the player state in case someone disconnects, since the player state is destroyed, I was afraid we might lose the information of the player being disconnected. But actually we can still store the information of a player being disconnected at the moment it disconnects, so we don't have to create a duplicate of all the data of the player. So we're actually we'll just store the in-game player here. Oh, what did in-game state? No, we want player state in player state. We want to change that. We want to go back there, unplug, replug, and we can plug that. And we're gonna grab his name, get player name. No, I think we have something like get nickname, and we're gonna plug this here. And when we actually grab the player team color, we're gonna do this and grab the team color here and return that value like this. So I'm still black and I know why, but now I'm blue and red, but I don't have any color here. That's kind of strange, and I guess I know why. So yeah, no, why do we have this return not get? So this is empty on the client, because the nickname of the player is not loaded maybe. I don't think so. If we quit now, oh okay, we have errors. Okay, that's because the nickname is empty. So that's because we didn't load the local player name here, so we want to do this. So I guess find all battlefields. If the index of the battlefield is -1, we actually want to grab the local player state, and we want to get online players. We want to loop through that, and if I'm local, I'm going to set, so this is a battlefield, we actually want the fight zones. We're gonna tell the fight zones that yeah, so we are storing the battlefield here, and we want to grab all the fight zone of the battlefield. Yeah, of course, like this. So we are looping through all battlefields, and we are looping through all fight zones of this battlefield, of the local battlefield, and we want to set the host player, the local player name. We want to set that to the player name of that player state. And actually we don't want to do this. We want to check if the ID is equal to 0. If so, we're going to set it to that value. If not, we're going to So we're actually gonna select, plug that here, delete, plug that here. So if it's local, we want that, and if not, we don't want to feed that. We want to let it black, like this. So it's not working. So if the ID of the battlefield, oh, that might be because we actually need to that's not why. If the ID is 0, we're getting the nickname. And we also want to tell our bench and our shop. So are we getting them already? Are we having a reference to them? So we don't, we're just gonna do a little logic that gets the bench and the shop and tell them to set their name to our name. So there is only one on the map, like this. So we want to set hosted local player name of all the shop and the benches, like this, to our name. Get nickname, like this. And we should be, so maybe that's because we are not, oh yeah, so the bug comes from the fact that we are not yet stored so the bug comes from the fact that the units are spawning there right away, and I think we can get rid of that logic if where did we put that logic? The fact that maybe in the bench itself, yes, spawn units. Maybe if we do something like wait 3 seconds, we are not yet recorded to the game state when we are actually spawning the units, and we didn't add any to the shop. So they are blue, they are both blue, so that's quite strange actually. So it's gonna throw an error here, I guess. Yep. So that's the logic here that doesn't work. And that's because we don't have any online players at that time. So I guess we might just do this, getting rid of this, getting rid of that, no, actually keeping this, getting rid of this. So we are looking for all the battlefields, and we're going to promote that to variable local fight zone, like this. We're gonna grab this, go back to when a player connects, so in our event graph. So we're looking for authority here, but we're actually gonna look for, is this the local player state? If it is, so we're gonna select here. We're gonna grab the local fight zone. Oh, we start the battlefield, we want the fight zone. Get fight zone 0, I guess. get a copy. We want to promote that to a variable. We want to get rid of the local fight zone like this. We want to go back to our event graph, and we want to grab our local fight zone. And if that's true, we want to get the nickname of that player and store that. And it still doesn't work. So we are gonna have, so we don't have a local fight zone yet. And we are actually, one is actually red in game, whereas he is blue here. So that's not supposed to happen. Yep, we have the proper colors here, but not here. So this all comes from the fact that we cannot store properly the local player name. So I guess there's better way to do this. So the fight zone, actually the player states. So our bench, first things first, why are we blue? When the server should be red. Because, of course, because he only has one, he should only be doing this if he's local. Get local player states, are we local? If we are local, we want to do this. So server is gonna be red, and is gonna be blue. It's not gonna be blue. Why isn't he? So the player states, is he local? Yes, he is. When you record to the game state, is he already local? So that's actually the player controller telling him that he is local. So the problem lies in the fact that this is not being called properly. But if we remove this here and put that in the check for player name, I mean set local state, no. So when do we want to, yeah, we do want to do this, of course we do. But it's strange that so I know why it's not working on client when we actually go to combat phase, and it's working on server. That's because we never actually feed the host player value of the battlefield on client. We're only doing this on server. But I don't know why we're failing to. So we don't have any errors, of course, if we quit. And in here we don't have the right team color. And that's because when the units spawn, the bench actually has no value. And that comes from the fact that, okay, so that's just because we want to do this only here, like this. Okay, so this is fine, but we still have that bug. So that comes from the fact that we failed to in here. We should be looking for it actually. So we're gonna look through all battlefield. Actually we can look right for fight zone. We want to loop, and oh no, we want the battlefield, and we want to loop through. We want to loop break, and if the ID equals -1, we're gonna get the fight zone 1, and we're gonna set its local player name to our nickname, like this. And now we're red and we are black here, and we're just quickly gonna make sure that we can't drop our unit on a fight zone which is not ours. I wonder if we actually can do this. Maybe we can't. So the player controller, we want the in-game player controller. So when we stop moving units, we are looking for, we're not checking for anything. We don't have any cancel. Oh yeah, if we are not focusing anything, so we just have to say that, yeah, but square don't know their grid, so we can't do this quickly. So we just won't care. We'll fix the other problem coming from the in-game state, and the other problem of the color being, so we are starting to see the color. We are quite happy about this. But if we hit play, if we go to combat phase, the client has no colors. So how do we fix this? It's actually quite easy. So when unrep current player battlefield fires, we need to tell each of the corresponding battlefields that their name is what the server just sent us. So we want to grab the battlefield. What battlefield do we want? So we want the X one, and the fight zone we want the Y, and we want to set host player name, local player name, to that value, like this. And I think that's gonna be it. So if we put that here, and if we add a night, if we hit play, we don't have the colors. So, but we have a list of match. This means, are we storing these battlefields on the client as well? When we find all battlefield, I guess we are. Oh yeah, we can grab the fight zone right away instead of doing this. Get fight zone, find. We want to find this, and we want to set its local player name. That's easier. I think it's not gonna change anything though, unfortunately. Oh, and actually it is. Okay, so I failed to properly store the information here, one way or another. I meant in the battlefield here. Okay, that's quite strange, but we are happy that it's working. So I guess we'll just see. So we still have that error. We won't care about this. We'll check out what happens when we have like 4 players. So the yellow is gonna use a knight. The green is gonna use an archer. Is gonna use a footman. Is gonna use this, and the silver is gonna start the game. So I'm fighting yellow and is fighting blue and green. Yeah, that's actually quite... And we can switch camera. So 2 battlefields are not used. So we can switch cameras to see the other player fighting. So this is starting to shape up quite well. So this is gonna wrap up that video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.